What's up everybody, welcome to the life of a board gamer. My name is Daniel and today, depending when you are watching this, we are going to paint for charity. I am going to be painting adrenaline miniatures. This is going to be a 3-part video because I can't paint all the 6 miniatures in one sitting. It is just not possible. So I am painting 2 by 2. Tonight we are painting Sprog and this little guy called Destructor. So we are painting these two guys. Hopefully I can finish them in about 2 hours. I presumed I would need about an hour per miniature or so. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll be faster, maybe we'll be slower, who knows. So yeah, these I am painting for other people. I'm not painting for myself. I already painted mine long time ago. There is videos on my channel and my painting skills have greatly improved. But yeah, since I have a kid, I was like becoming more sensitive about kids stuff and all that. So if you're familiar, if you're not with the Vasel Memorial Fund, it is basically a fund started by well-known reviewer Tom Vasel. In a time of need, he was helped by other board gamers, so then he started this fund to help other board gamers in need. And this year I decided I want to be a part of it. I could not offer any game or anything, but I could very well offer my painting skills. So I am painting miniatures tonight. And if you hear some wild children noises, it is 10 p.m. and my kid was about to go to sleep, but he decides he wants to play his little song, so you'll have to deal with it. He'll go to sleep sometime soon, I presume, so but for now we are going to have to endure his little efforts of playing little books and stuff like that. Yeah, the kid is awake. So yeah, the thing is, yeah, I am painting this for charity for one fella from USA. He sent me these miniatures and now I'm going to paint him these miniatures for him. And somebody wants to say hi. Okay, come here. Saito. Saito. Camera. Camera ne kaka. So yeah. Yeah, I don't want to drug my kid. So yeah, he is well, as you can all see, he's well awake. And yeah, I'm just going to switch to one other scene because the new thing is now I have 2 cameras set up, and now you will all be able to watch my face or this guy's face, and he just lost his pacifier. And yeah, so bye bye. He's going to get some books read to him. Yes, I was working about stuff. There should have been chat here, but for some reason my chat box is not working. Let me see if I can make it work. Well, that's very weird. It should be working. It should be up here, the chat. You should be seeing chat up here, but for some reason there is no chat here. And it was working when I was doing like a live test a few hours ago. But for now, for some reason, of course, it's my first live stream with 2 cameras, so expect some mishaps to happen. It just has to happen like that. So yeah, let's start painting. Yes, we are painting this for charity. We have about 2 hours to paint these 2 guys, and I'm going to start with Sprog. First thing first, I'm going to go with warp lightning. I'm going to use mostly contrast paints because that's the only way I can do them in 2 hours and still look nice. So starting to look very professional. Thank you. Yeah, it was a real hassle to pull all this up. So, and I hope that camera battery will hold enough for 2 hours. I don't know what's the capacity of the camera. I just got it like month and a half ago. So I'm not really sure if it's going to manage to film all the 2 hours, but we are most definitely going to try and film for 2 hours. That's at least my goal, and we'll see how it goes from there. So yeah, we are starting with Sprog, and we're just going to lay down some green colors on him. Now I know that my camera is autofocusing. I was not able to make it happen differently. I'm just watching if he has armor, or are these like some scales. Let's say that's the armor, so I'm not gonna paint that, but I'm going to paint the rest of it. So yeah, rest of his head at least. Yeah, so we'll see how the things go. I really don't know if this is going to work or not, but we are going to try and make 3 videos painting these miniatures, and I hope we're gonna have some fun while we are painting these. I decided to. I also painted a lots of what's the game name? Spectre Ops. I also painted some Spectre Ops for him, but I decided to do Adrenaline live since it's like only 6 miniatures. It is way easier to paint these live than like entirety of the Spectre Ops. And yes, you can hear some sounds, so he really wants to be present for this painting. I apologize for that, but I have no other options. I can't evict him from the home since this is the only home he has, and he really enjoys seeing these miniatures on the camera. So yeah, I know this is not the most professional thing ever, but what can you do? And now he's really like slightly nudging my hands, and he wants to get into my lap. So this is actually not going to be a painting video, but me telling you live what my kid is trying to do. Yeah, this is some fun stuff going on here. So these miniatures are really good looking miniatures, but the details are really not that deep. They're really shallow, so I'm not really sure what I'm painting and if I'm doing it correctly, because some of this looks like it's just scales, it's his skin, but I think it just might look like that, but in actuality it is like armor. He has some armor going around his tail, so we're going to improvise a little bit and see how it goes. So yeah. So yeah, best kinds of videos, not planned and real life. Yeah, they are. You get something like super special out of it. I mean, how did not you heard about the Adrenaline? It is from CGE. It is really a awesome game of first-person shooter, and coincidentally, it is done. It was designed by Croatian designer Filip Neduk, which I had the pleasure of meeting, and he's a really great guy. He designs games that are very much influenced by the computer games. The other game, Sanctum, really looks like a Diablo on the board, in the board game, also from CGE. I really like that one. We played it. It was a really cool game. I did not do a review of it yet. I still have to do a review of it, but yeah, it was a really good game. Had lots of fun playing it. Okay, so yeah, Ido is here with us. Welcome. Hello, good evening, or good day, depending where you're from. So we have these legs that I'm really not sure what the parts are, like legs, and what parts are armor. This one is really tough to paint. The details are not that like super sharp, but they're fairly good, as I already mentioned. So I'm just going by my feeling and guessing, thinking what could be the best thing. So yeah, I'm going to paint. Also, I'm going to paint these as close to the artwork as possible, because the guy who sent me miniatures said he likes things when they look like on the artwork, when he does not have to guess what is what. I mean, he would most definitely have no need to guess what is what here, but still, if he wants it like that, who am I to do it any differently, right? Yes, they did post a solo option for it. It requires at least 3 players. I think you can play it in 2 players if you play team game, if you have expansion, and if you play team game you can just control 2 characters if you want to. I think that's one of the options that you have for this game. And I'm just looking, I'm going to switch for a slightly smaller brush for the little details that I can't reach with this big one, and we are going to see how that goes. So yeah, I took the wrong brush, or didn't I, or did I? Yep, that's the correct one. So let's see his hands. I can't see his hands on the artwork, so I'll just take a wild guess and I'll just paint some parts with the green, like his fingers maybe, and the rest will be like armor. He has like armor on his hands, like all kinds of different stuff. And guess who's back? Who's having a lot of fun making this video. Really it's really hard to paint when he's clinging on my leg. So yes, kids, what can you do? So I'm just doing a little touch-ups here and there because I now have the smaller brush, so I can be more precise with where I'm painting, because there is some recesses here, but this is mostly armor, so we are going to treat it like that. I did do a few mishaps which I'll have to cover up before we go with the different color. So the next one of these videos are going on Friday, just so you know. Tomorrow there will be no live stream. I thought about streaming for 3 days straight, but it would just be very exhausting, so I decided to take a day rest before I do another one, and then again another one, and on the Sunday we are going to have another of these live stream painting videos. So I'm I'm just painting his hand, trying to do as best job as I can because some of these places are really hard to reach, really difficult to reach. And I think his hands is showing through up here now. It looks like it's armor mostly, but I think this part over here, and I'm not even looking at the camera, I hope you are seeing everything correctly. So I think this part over here is like his hand, at least now it is. I saw it on the artwork, so I'm going with it. Yeah, but most of this is done. Most of his skin at least is done. Wait, I need to go a little bit on his hand, like here. This is really okay. So we are done with that. I know you didn't see lots of what I did down here, but basically as you can see I just got his arm painted up. Okay, let me see, what are you saying? Search for Adrenaline Solo Play DLC. Yes, they have the solo option. I think you can play teams, at least one people controlling two characters, and now you can play in teams. But I never did play it in teams, so yeah. Yes, contrast paints. Zeblik says contrast paints. Yes, I'm mostly using contrast paints. Otherwise, I would not be able to paint this in the 2-hour time. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go, and I have, like, if you're wondering what this is like my custom-made wet palette, and I'm going to try and one day I'm going to be pro and buy a real wet palette, like the real one. But until then, I have to make what I can. So I'm just going to, I just need to shake the color. I'm going to use Sky Gray from Vallejo. Sky Gray, Vallejo. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that to cover up a few mistakes that I did. Because the armor is going to be like a grayish color, and the green would show up over underneath that gray, so we need to like gray it out. Like behind his hand over here I did a little bit of mistake, so we are going to cover that up. This part over here I kind of messed up a little bit. So we are going to do that, this thing over here, and let's see, we have some over here that we need to do. Over here. So yeah, basically. And of course we are going to paint his jaws again with the white, because I want to do them in like a pink color or something like that, so he looks like really nasty, like he would bite your head off. And his eyes, of course we need to paint his eyes a little bit of orange, so I just need a little bit of white here. And I hate painting eyes on the miniatures. I really do. I really hate painting eyes on the miniatures. I don't do that. So my sister is here and she's asking where my mother is. Is that silver? No, I did not find some parchment paper. It is the best paper I could find, but still it's not good. It still dissolves the paint and everything, so I definitely plan on getting a real, like real serious these what it's called, like wet palette, of course, wet palette. But I don't know when that's going to happen, but definitely is, because I do paint a lot and it will be of real use to me. And you asked, is this silver? No, this is actually just a white primer that I use, and I use airbrush to prime my miniatures. I did use the spray cans, rattle cans, however you want to call them. We need to really shake this one, see how all the pigment is down here. So I need to really shake it, so I can't talk and shake at the same time. So yeah, come on. Okay, we are getting some progress, but still we need to shake it a little bit more. I didn't use this paint in a while, so all the pigment just goes down a little bit and we are there. That's why I'm going to paint for 2 hours, because this is really going to take 2 hours. And my sister asked, where's my mother? I don't know where she is. She's usually here, but okay, I think we did a good job. There is still a little bit of pigment down here, but most of it is now shaken up. So we are going to use this color to paint just the shoulder pads in this, like a green color, like these things over here, because I see on the picture they look kind of green, and the rest of it will be like a gray armor with a little hint of green at the end, if I decided to do so. But yeah, so we are going to do a green armor on these shoulder pads, and the rest of it will be gray. So I'm still deliberating, should I do a freehand, because this armor has like some red lines or something going on, and I'm not good at freehand. My hands are too shaky for that type of things, so I just might leave the green like this, because after all I'm not like super pro painter. That's one thing I never learned. I really tried, I did try my best like in freehand, but it's just not going to happen. Some things, you know, like I usually say, just keep practicing, you'll be there sooner or later. Well, I really tried with freehanding some miniatures, and it never went well. My mom is here. So everybody, Mom, your friend Zeblik is also here, so you can chat now. And I see his gun is also green, so we are going to do his gun green, but we are going to leave the inner part white because it's kind of blue. It gives off an energy, like he's shooting with it right this second, right this moment. So we are going to try and replicate that from the artwork if possible, and we'll see how it looks at the end. We might change it, who knows, but I think it is something that I'm fairly certain I can do. So for all of you who are new to my painting videos, my mom is my regular #1 fan, so no mean comments, no nasty words or anything, or she'll find you and she will school you on it. So please, everybody, act accordingly to your age. Let's see, this thing over here looks like it is like an energy thing, so I'm just gonna leave it like so. think it was a good decision to do that. We'll see. Okay, I'm really satisfied how it looks. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go a little bit off the artwork and I'm going to paint this thing also here green, just to give a little bit of more of that green on the back of his tail, you know, just to have this color all around the model. It makes sense, at least it makes sense to me. So my niece is here also, so my entire family, only my father needs to come in and then we have the complete set. So before I go with the rest of the armor, we have to paint eyes orange, and he has this little thing on his chest like in the middle that is also orange, so I just want to paint that just because now I know where it is, so when I start painting everything else I don't want to smudge it up. I thought that Basta 290 was my son's godfather, but I was not sure. I was just waiting for him to reveal himself, and now he did. So yeah, there's the other guy that's writing in Croatian, if you don't understand what's going on, just so you know. So he has like this thing glowing orange over here, so I'm just going to do it like so, and his eyes are also orange, and I'm sorry if you can't see that what I'm doing, but I really hate painting eyes so much, don't like it. Okay, orange is done. So next thing is I could go with the Griff Charger gray. Yes, of course, I forgot to show you the colors. For these green parts I used Militarium green, and for the orange I used Griffhound orange, just so you know. Yeah, grandma is taking over the channel. So yeah, what I need now, I need one color. I forgot to take one color, just a second. So while we are here, and we need to shake it very well, we are going to use Magosh purple just for his mouth, and I'm going to use super thin brush because I want to leave some of that white to show off as his teeth, and I'm just going to go around the bottom edges of his mouth and on the top of it. Oh man, I really need to sneeze. So just running down along the edges like his gums, you know. And of course I'm going to try to paint the inner part of the mouth. Okay, that's done. Mark Louise, my cousin's son, is here also, so I guess all my family is here mostly. So welcome everybody. It definitely is fun to chat around the world. So yes, I'm thinking about using Griff Charger gray for his armor, or just a regular gray, and then a little hint of green maybe here and there just to give it. Okay, so we are going to go with the Basilicanium gray for the rest of the armor, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of hint of green here and there with the Militarum green, just to break it off a little bit. Okay, so for these big parts like his hand, I'm going to use a bigger brush, and then we're probably going to switch to smaller brush for some other parts. Okay. I will look at the chat in a second. I really want this thing to do in one swoop, because painting with contrast, you really don't want your paint to start drying, and it's really hot, so the paint is drying extra quickly, so I'm really in a hurry to paint everything up before it dries out, because then it shows clearly where you start and where you stopped, so I'm trying to avoid that. So the chat is slowly turning into my family reunion thing, because some of them are in Germany and some of them are here in Osijek in Croatia. And if you hear cryings from the other room, there's a little fella definitely avoiding sleep tonight. So I guess he's too much amused with what I'm doing, and he really doesn't want to go to sleep, even though he had a very eventful day, lots of fun and everything, but I guess this is something that interests him, so he'll probably be back very soon. Wife is really trying to make him sleep, but it's not going to happen. So I'm just watching what you're saying through a chat. What are my thoughts on contrast paints now that I have been using them for some time now? Well, Dower asked. Hey, welcome Dower. I completely missed that it was asked by you. Just a second. So yeah, contrast paints are awesome if you want a job done quickly and if you want it to look decent. Now, these are most definitely not replaced the regular colors, at least for me, even though I do mostly paint with the contrast paints, but lots of people say they are made for beginners. I have some things that I would argue against, because these really have a tendency to make miniature look very ugly if you don't know what you're doing, and you have to understand how they work and what they do, because the logic of painting with contrast paints is different than the logic of painting with regular paints. They are very much different, not like a little bit, but very much different. So I think they are a good thing if you want to start painting, but you will need to learn a few things with how they work and everything, but I think they're good, because usually you would have to trade like you can decide if you want to have a good looking miniature and you will paint them forever, or do you want to have like ugly, okay, but mostly ugly looking miniature, but you will have it like in no time. So you need to decide between those two. And it was usually, for me at least, I was giving the best I can for every miniature that I wanted to paint, but that painting took me forever. So these contrast paints do help you to create some really nice piece of art and still be quick about it, do it quickly. So yeah, I like them, I really do like them, but I think they are not for everyone. You really need to know what you're doing and how are you placing highlights and pooling of the color, because you see, like for example, this color is pooling on some places where I really don't want it to pool, and when you try to move it around you get these white spots. So it is really, they really do require some getting used to. Okay, so that was Basilicanum Grey, and while we are waiting for that one to dry off, yes, I hear they are saying that baby is crying. Yes, he's crying, he doesn't want to go to sleep. He refuses to go to sleep. If you were here at the start of the video, you would see him in my lap, because... And now the chat just casually turned into my family expressing love for one another. Awesome stuff going on. Okay, so I'm using Athermatic blue, and I'm using it to paint the gun and the coils with it, and it will give it like really nice glowing effect. And we are after that, we want it to look like super cool, like it's really glowing. So I'm using it, a lot of it, because the more you use it, the more shadows you will get from it and more highlights. See how it looks like it glows. We might be working on that glow a little bit more later. If we have enough time, we are going to do some highlights, but basically I'm just now doing like a base job, and then we are going to try and do highlights. Okay, so while the paint is still wet on this gray parts, I'm going to use some Militarum green, just to put some green in the recesses, just to give it a little bit differentiation, a little bit of shade here and there, just a little bit of hint of green. So for example, like down here, I'm just gonna go like this, and also here. And let's paint, okay, a little bit too much paint, but let's do it around this part. And maybe do these things, give them a little bit of green, just to break down, because it's like a big part, big chunk of the gray, and we want to break it down a little bit. So yeah, I guess I'm going to try and do a freehand of the red once that all is dried, if we are done with the miniature in the time. Okay, so he is kinda done, because he's not. I missed a few spots here and there. So do I have an image that I'm going off? Yes, there is an image that I'm using to paint this miniature, because the guy who ordered these from me as part of the charity work, he want me to specifically paint by how it looks on the artwork, so I'm using artwork to paint these guys. Okay, so this one is done for now at least. I saw one mistake, and I missed a little spot on the hand right over here, and I need to cover that because it will be bothering me. This cannot be. So before we continue on the yellow one, we just need to cover up this thing over here. Now we are done. Okay, we are going to wait for this one to dry off before we continue doing some other stuff to him. Some freehand. I think I'm going to do some freehand. And we are going to try and paint Destructor. So first thing first, we are going to go with the Yandan yellow. No, it's Yandan yellow. That one is like too yellowish. I'm going to use Nasdrag yellow. I think that one is way better. I'm just reading the chat. It's crazy. So we need to really shake it up. So you can see lots of pigment on the bottom. This should be clear through, but it's not showing. Okay, come on. I need to paint more with these paints, definitely. Okay, so first we are going to do all the yellow parts, and then we are going to do all the black parts of the miniature, because I think it's easier. Just that, because at least for me it's easier. So yeah, he has like armor all around himself. I just need to check it out a little bit to see how I'm about to approach it. Okay, I like that I chose this a little bit darker yellow, because the other one is really like a really yellow, and I think it would not look that good if I went with it. Okay, so since I messed up this part over here, we are going to paint it yellow, and we're just going to avoid these recesses as much as we can, because they are going to be black, but if I put yellow inside, it would not look good. So we're just going to go over here. Now I'm going a little bit out of, not following the artwork exactly. If I'm not mistaken, this part should be black, but sometimes some stuff that looks good on artwork really does not work in reality. When you paint it, it does not look good. So I'm just hoping that the person that is paying for these is going to be happy with it and will easy off the board. So so far so good. I'm just checking out how it looks, and Well, to me at least, it looks really nice. Is this part yellow, or is his armor just going up to this thing and not down here? No, it's definitely going. It's like definitely like this, which means his other hand is also like his, like this. And I guess the baby's asleep. So if you gradually hear me less and less, that's because I will try to not wake him up, because he should really be asleep. I think I did a boo-boo here that we'll need to come and repair. I painted some parts that should not be yellow. Luckily this can be repaired. If you mess up, you just go back with at least a little bit of white or something that is close to white. And my father just joined. Good evening, Father. Good evening. So I guess now, I collected them all, like Pokemons. Entire families here. Okay, one more leg and we are done with the yellow. At least I think we are, and we can switch off to a black and do that part. Okay, I think that's all the yellows on him. I think we need to repair a few mistakes that we did, but I think we did all the yellow colors. I need to just check it out before I continue, because usually when you think you painted everything, it turns out you didn't, and then you have to come back and, you know what, I'm just gonna paint these yellow because I'm going to put black here, so it really doesn't matter, but I want to avoid some extra repairs that I need to do for the miniature. Okay, so we are done with the yellow. And we need to repair a few things, yes, few mistakes that we did. So we are going with the ghost gray again. And one thing I did, I went over here when I definitely shouldn't. And this thing over here definitely should not have been yellow, because the other side isn't. I'm just touching up a few details here and there that I painted and really wanted to stay white, so before we can continue with the black, because these miniatures are fairly easy to paint. There's really nothing much to do on them, to work on them. And then we are going to do bases. I guess we are going to have enough time. We are only painting for an hour and we are doing pretty well, I must say. Lots of work has been done. Okay, next thing up, we are done with the yellow for now. For now we are done with the yellow, but we need to wait for some of the paint to dry up, those mistakes that we repaired. We need to dry that off. And I'm thinking, what can I do to this guy to make it more visually interesting? To make it more look like a cool. I'm looking at his shoulder pads and they look very different. If I do a free hand, I'm gonna mess it up. I really don't want to mess up this miniature. So yeah, I'm just going to work on a gun a little bit, see how that will go, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to use a sky blue, and I'm just going to yes, he has red lines on the shoulder, but I'm really bad at freehand, and I'm afraid if I try it that I will probably mess it up. You know, it will not look that good, and then I would probably ruin the miniature and spend a lot of time to repair that, because red is not easy to cover because it's really bright and strong color. So I'm thinking about it right now, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. But just for now, I'm just going to do a little bit of more bluish lines on his gun to make it more visually interesting. I'm working with very limited space, so I have like wet palette over there, paints are over there, pot is over here, microphones, 2 cameras around. So but I now realize that it's not like a good setup. I need to definitely work it out for the next video. At least try to work it out to make it a little bit better, because right now what I'm doing, I'm constantly going with my hands over the camera, and that, well, that is not good. It is amateurish. Okay, so we're just adding some little bit of blue to this gun. I'm thinking of maybe doing some blue on the armor. I don't know. Nope, not going to do it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of light orange, like just a little bit, to put like a dot on this thing over here to make it look like glow, and maybe try to put some on his eyes to pop them a little bit more. And if I feel super brave, I'm definitely going to try and paint red on his shoulder pads and see how that goes. So if I decide to do that, we'll see how the night goes. So I'm just going to make a little orangey dot in the middle. See, now it looks like it's glowing. Really nice effect. And just a little touch on his eyes. I need some fresh paint for that. I need just a little bit his eye. One eye is done. And the second one is done. And it looks, I know you can't see it very well from the camera, but it looks cool actually. I'm really satisfied how it looks. So I'm going to use a little bit of icy yellow. Icy yellow. Just to give a little bit more glow to the gun. I could use white for that, but I think if I really dilute yellow like a lot and just put a little bit of hint on it, it would work way better than white. White is just not that natural, you know. And I think that yellow would work, so we'll see how it goes. See, just a little bit of hint, like it's glowing from the inside. I think it looks better. Let's just put a little line over here in the middle, just where all the coils are and everything. I guess the glow would be the strongest around that part. I might go with the white at least a little bit over that yellow. I think it was not like a super good decision to mix yellow with the blue, and yes, I'm destroying stuff around me. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to do something about this armor. I'm not sure what, but something. We're definitely going to need to boost it up a little bit, maybe with few of the... Okay, I decided I'm just searching for the right paints, sorry if you can't hear me. Come on, where are you? Okay, these two, so carmine red and vermilion. So I'm going to try with those, and I'm going to try and freehand some of the lines and see how it goes. Worst case scenario, we need to cover it up and just paint it green again. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go with a little bit bigger brush for that one, and then smaller brush for the thinner part of it, because I'm going to do one like a big line and then one small line, and we'll see how that goes. Like, try to highlight it, sort of. So basically he has like a red line going from here to, I'm guessing, because I can't see on the back, but I'm guessing he has it going like here, and then like so, and the bottom one is also going from here like to here, something like that. And I'm guessing that's, it looks on the back the same, so I'm just gonna repeat that on the back and hope it looks good. He has some like dots or something. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to recreate those, but we're going to try, definitely, because we are now committed to a free hand. Oh man, I'm really stressed out how this will turn at the end. I just hope it looks as decent as possible. Okay, let's see. His shoulder looks... This miniature looks like it has a defect. Like it's missing part of the shoulder pad. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm completely out of focus. See, he has like a defect in here. Like a part is missing. So we're just going to go with it and think of it as like he has some battle damage. So that part is not going to be painted red because it's missing actually. And also his gun has some lines, so we need to do these lines on the gun too. And these just go around here and then here. I'm guessing they're going the full circle, so I'm just going to do them full circle, or maybe skip it, these two, and then do it like here. I think they're going like so. I think they're stopping there, so I'm going to stop there. Or maybe now I'm really getting into this. I think I even like freehanding some of this stuff. But yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna overdo it. It's going to look like garbage. So I'm not doing it. Okay, next thing up, vermilion. We're going to highlight a little bit more of those things on his shoulders. Zeblik says, looking good. Thank you, my friend. I'm kind of a little bit proud myself that I'm doing this good, because I really don't like, but I didn't freehand stuff in a very long time. Maybe I didn't realize, but I got better at it just by getting better at painting. But you know, you never tried, so you don't know how it will turn out. Yeah. So basically I'm just going with a little bit thinner line inside that darker red line, so to give it like a small highlight of sorts. I don't know if it's visible on camera, but me looking at it, it looks way better. It definitely is a little bit brighter, and I think it looks good. I think it was a good decision. I think even I will start maybe doing a little bit more of freehand in the future, trying to see where it will take me. But this is really stressing work to do. I'm really stressed out. I really don't want to mess up. It's so easy to mess up. So this one has some dots like on this upper part, so I'm just going to try and dot like this, 3 dots, even though he has more, but I really can't do more than 3. Yeah, little dots, barely visible on the camera, but they're there. Okay, now just the gun, and I can proudly say that we are done with this miniature after that. And that only leaves us with Destructor. And I don't know, maybe I can do something for this one too. Just maybe a few little touch-ups here and there. See how they look. Okay, but I'm satisfied. I'm glad that you talked me into putting some red on this on his shoulder pads and on the gun. He looks way better this way, I must admit. So thank you. And I really want to do a red part over here. On the top of the gun. I think it will break down a little bit of pattern and look good. See, you can't do this with contrast, stuff like this. I mean, you could, but you would need way more work than it's needed if you are using just a regular paint. So contrast paints most definitely don't switch up for the regular paints, but yeah, they can be really helpful if you want to paint miniatures fast. Okay, so Sprog looking really good. I like it. I like how it turned out. Okay, so we are back at doing, and I'm searching for one paint that I cannot see anywhere. Where is it? Where's my Black Templar? Oh, it's here. It's right in front of my nose. So Black Templar for all the other parts of this guy. So we are going to use the big brush at first for most of these parts, like his gun and everything, because everything is black. His gun, his hands, all things is black. These miniatures are fairly simple to paint, at least these two. Others might not be that easy, but we are most definitely going to see that in a 2-day. On Friday I'm going to paint next 2 miniatures. I'm not sure which live I did announced on Friday. I think it was, what was it? Was it maybe Violet and Dozer? I'm not really sure. I need to check out, so I can prepare the miniatures, you know, spray paint them and everything. I think I'm going to do also some extra stuff on this gun, just to differentiate him a little bit from the rest of the miniature. And I need to move paint around, otherwise I will knock it off, and we don't want to do that. This one, even though it is pretty easy miniature because it has like only 2 colors, but you really need to be careful around him because it's very easy to paint stuff black that needs to be yellow, and I'm really trying to avoid that because it is way harder to cover the black one, the black color. So I'm sorry if you don't see some parts that I'm painting, but I really need like these weird angles so I don't catch and paint the wrong parts of the miniature. Okay, his legs are pretty tough to paint. He has like lots of angles and it's really easy to miss on some of it. You know, you paint one side and you completely miss the other. That's stuff that happens like on a regular basis. This miniature is taking me way more time than I had anticipated I would need to paint him, because I was thinking like, oh, you just block in some of the yellow parts, you do the black ones and you are done. But it turns out you have to be like super careful, which slows down the job of painting it and makes it a little bit more difficult than I thought. So we might end up painting a little bit more than 2 hours, but I really want to finish it sooner rather than later, because I need to get early in the morning and go to work. It would be nice to live from this, but for now it is not an option. I'm saying for now, like it's going to be one day. I mean, who knows? You never know where the life will take you, but yeah. Okay, I need to paint his leg without doing too much damage to the rest of the armor, and it's going to be a real pain to do that. Oh man. Whew. Well, I am officially tired. I did put some black paint on his knee, you see, right over here. Oh man, I was really hoping I will miss all the yellow spots, but we are going to come back and repair that, most definitely. I don't want to do like half a job. We want these miniatures to look good. If it was my miniature, I would probably leave it be, because nobody would see that. I guess I would be the only one who knew that miniature has like some parts painted that should not be painted. I'm sorry, I think I'm not like super quiet. I think you can hear me okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave this part over here. I need to go with a smaller brush, otherwise it's going to look really nasty. Audio is great. Well, thank you, my friend. I do have a better mic. Slowly but surely, looking more professional. I'm laughing because my wife accidentally tripped one of the kids' toys and it started speaking, so he's asleep if you hear something that's not him. Okay, I think we did all the parts. Now I can go underneath here with the brush and not mess up a lot of things. I definitely want to be careful. Okay. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit tired, but we are going to do this. So I need to just bring some more paint up. So I'm switching to smaller brush to catch few of these details that I couldn't do with the bigger brush, otherwise I would really mess up parts that are fine and that I don't want to mess up. What did I miss? What did I miss? I'm just searching for all the white spots. Okay, the eyes and the mouth are going to be a really challenging thing, even though they don't look like super challenging, but see, it just escaped a little bit and now his eye is not like a perfectly round thing, and I'll need to see, one is good, the other looks like not good. Oh man, painting eyes is a nightmare. Oh man, I completely messed up his mouth too. I guess I was prepared for that, but I really hope that I would be able to paint these without any mistakes. His mouth and everything that. Okay, it is what it is. We're going to have to repair some of that stuff. Okay, so I have some tricky part right over here. Really hard to paint. Oh man. Okay, so we need to repair his eyes and his mouth. That's going to be a hell of a job. I have an idea. I want to change up some things over here at his head. I want this thing around to be also black. So I'm just going to try and go with the black or the yellow, see how it works, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to repaint it, because I also need to repair some of that stuff. So either I make it or don't. It looks okay. I like how it turned out. Okay, so while we are waiting for that part to dry off before we can repair the mess up things that we did, we are going to go again with the aromatic blue and paint like these glowing vents. So we're going to paint those. Oh, my neck is killing me. I'm hunched over and it's like straighten my back. Nice. Okay, so these things over here. Pretty easy job. You know, just put some blue and you are done. Okay. His eyes, his knees, all that things. We need to repair all of that as best as we can. And I think it will work if we just use a little bit of white and then go with the yellow over it. I think we can do it. I just need to put the least amount needed to cover it up. And his leg over here. I really don't want this to show black. Okay, so I think that's all things that we missed. I want to do one more thing, if I'm able to do it, that is. Nah, there is no enough details around here. You know what? I could maybe paint a part of his gun blue. So this part over here, I'm going to go and paint it white with this ghost gray, and then just paint it with the blue, like glowing thingy, because everything looks too black and too yellow on this miniature. It just looks visually not interesting enough. So we are going to try and make it a little bit visually interesting, and we'll see how it goes. I just realized I missed the spot here beneath the gun with the black, so we need to repair that before we continue. Where is Black Templar? Okay, this will be a quick and easy job. So, and it's done. I think we did not miss anything else. Maybe a little bit here. So yeah, the thing is, his gun and his can look too similar, and I want to differentiate them a little bit. So I'm going to use two gray colors, one of them being neutral, where is it? Here, neutral gray, and the other one is blue gray pale, and as you can see, one is darker than the other, and we're just going to do some highlights and bring rifle a little bit more details. Okay, before we do that, what do we need to do next? I'm just gonna wait for this to dry up a little bit. So yeah, let's shake this paint out. I just saw the comment showing off for the family. Nah, it's really not, but thank you. Ida says that this looks neat, and when he tried to use paints, that it looked awful. Contrast paints are really tricky thing. One thing that I learned is when you're painting with them, you don't want to do this motion over here. Like for example, you don't want to do this and constantly like dab on one space continuously. Once you go over it, you never return to it. You just go and paint the next part of the miniature, and then the next, and then the next, and the next, and go all around and paint it, the entire miniature. Like for example, this leg, you just go like this, paint it, and you never come back. If you go with a second coat, you leave like an extra pigments or something, and that's really what you want to avoid, because then you get this choppy, messy look, and that's probably what's bothering you. Accidentally, I know that because a friend of mine had a similar issue. Like, he's a good painter, but his contrast paints, his miniatures, it was like we are using different paints. So one day we just sat with him and told him, oops, sorry, I just nudged the camera a little bit. So we just took the paints, we gave him, he took out his paints, and we just said to him, okay, now paint the miniature and we will look what you are doing wrong. And right on the first thing, I noticed that he's dabbing on the miniature, sort of, and that's not what you should be doing. And yeah, we kind of helped him, so I think if you try that, it might help you. Okay, so I'm just going to go and put some random highlights on this gun and make it a gray gun, not black gun. Just so it looks a little bit different from his hand. And we want to leave his hand black. You know, maybe we're gonna highlight it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, how it looks, but yeah. So I'm just lightening up a little bit on the gun. See, it looks like, wait, I need one line over here. So yeah, it looks like this now. It looks awful, but it will look better, trust me. It looks like this, and it looked like this. See, it's way better when you add some details on it. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm radio silent, but I'm really trying to concentrate, because when it comes to some of the details, I'm more precise if I don't speak. I can't explain why, but it's just like that. Okay, so we are done with that, and now we are going with the gray pale and a little bit smaller brush. We are just going to add few highlights on top of the gun just to make them pop a little bit more. And you really need to thin down the paint. You want it to be like super runny, like very little, just like so. I'm silent, but it's the details, so I need concentration. To pull this off. So I'm just placing actually random highlights here and there, as already mentioned, just to break the look of the gun a little bit from the miniature itself, because it's mostly black, the miniature. Okay, so we did that. Now we are going to repair some of that yellow parts that we messed up. Oh, Jesse is here. Well, I'm glad you managed to swing by. Jesse is the guy that I'm painting this for, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you are the Jesse, right? Okay, so that is done. Now we need to go with the blue for the gun. Just to make the gun a little bit more visually interesting, we are going to paint this thing blue. I'm just going to go really heavy on this part, this front part, because I really want it like pop. It's here. So yeah, let's go with one more pass of the blue on these engines, give them a little bit more color, more bluish tone. The one and only, oh yeah, it is you. I don't know if you saw, but I already did Sprog, and I even did some freehand on his shoulder pads, as he has that in the picture, and I was really afraid to do it, but I did it. I might work on the armor a little bit more, but now what I want to do is I want to finish the base, so we're just going to go with the regular black color and just paint the bases black, and then we're just going to try and do some glowing yellow and green effects, because this one is yellow and this one is green. So we are going to do some of that on the bases, because it will look cool on the table, because the game itself is like a little bit of glowish in all kinds of colors. It is really visually interesting game. Okay, where's the camera? Okay, it's here. So right now I'm just going with the black, and I'm just going to tidy up the base so it is nice and black, and that way when I do that glowing thing, it's going to look really nicely, and it will pop from the base. The bases will look way cooler that way. I did that on mine and I really liked it, so I decided I'm gonna do it with these bases too. So I just need a little bit more water to water down the paint. I know you don't see much now what I'm doing, but basically I'm just painting the base black. This is not like anything worth watching. Jesse says I'm a fast painter. He usually does this in like a few hours. With the contrast paints or not, because to me I will also do like a 2 or 3 hours per miniature if I don't use contrast paints, because the contrast paints really do help a lot and speed things up when you know how to use them. Of course, I talked a little bit about it. And if you didn't see me painting Sprog, you can always watch the video later. This is available to watch later on my channel. Okay, so the base is completely black. Let's do the same for Destructor, and then we can start some other shenanigans. And the interesting thing to me is that Jesse is the painter, but he still decided to bid on this item for the Vasel Memorial Fund. And I must say, I do feel a little bit of pressure, because I am a painter that it's doing job for a painter, so I'm feeling like I'm being extra judged. And yeah, it's weird, it's really weird. One thing also, this is my first time that I'm participating in the Vasel Memorial Fund, and it is also Jesse's first time that he was bidding on something on Vasel Memorial Fund. So that's one interesting fact. We are both in this for the first time, so I presume he feels like I do. Really strange. Okay, so I missed the spot right over here. Okay, so the bases are done, and while we are waiting for them to dry up a little bit, I'm going to use some flat yellow, and I'm just going to highlight, no, not with a flat, maybe with a flat, no. I'm going to use this ice yellow, and I'm going to highlight just a few things on the Destructor. He says, no pressure, you are doing great. Thank you, but I still feel the pressure. Under pressure. I realized I have some paint on my palette, so I don't need to squeeze it some more. And yeah, I'm just going to highlight a few things just because I have some time while I'm waiting for the paint to dry off on the bases. And I just did some paint on my hand because I'm not careful. So I could have said that miniature is done once I'm done with the base, but these few little steps really can make the miniature look way better if you just have some patience to do them, because highlighting is usually not so easy job to do. But if you put few highlights just here and there, you don't have to highlight like entire miniature, just few of them to make the miniature visually more interesting. It will look way better. Okay, let's do some small highlights on the legs, like here, for example. And the other one, of course. So the paint is still wet, so I'm just gonna keep highlighting some parts of this destructor. While I wait for the paint to dry up. Okay, I think we are done. I think it looks much better with a few of these highlights. They really brought some nice details to it. I just don't want to mess up things, but I want to highlight a few more stuff. No, I don't want to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I think it's okay. And yeah, let's start with the basis. Now, you know what? I still see some wet spots, and we really need this basis completely dried up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight a few parts of the armor here and there on the sprog while we are waiting for it, just to define, give it a little bit more of a definition. So yeah, we're going to highlight some of his armor, and as you can see, this is a pretty subtle highlight. It's not like super noticeable, and that's what I'm aiming for, because even though you don't notice it right away, but it actually makes a difference. So yeah, I'm just highlighting few armor panels here and there. Nothing groundbreaking is going on here. But in a few seconds, maybe a minute, we are going to start doing the base, and that means that we are almost near to the end of this painting session, and I will see you on Friday, or if you are watching this in a later hour, maybe, who knows what day it is now, you can watch it right away if you want to. Somehow I managed to smudge the base a little bit down here. I'm not really sure how that happened, but at least that's an easy repair job. And voila, it's no more. Okay, so I did few highlights on the armor here and there. I think I missed on this leg a little bit, so I'm just gonna add a few details here. We need consistency after all. Okay, so now I am ready to highlight the base, and we are waiting for that part that I repaired to dry up. And while we are waiting for that, we are going to paint the base for the destructor. So I'm going to use a flat yellow to paint the entire rim of the base and the vertical thingies, you'll see, and then I'm just going to highlight just the edges with ice yellow that you already saw painting with it. So yeah, Jesse has to go. Go, man, go, no problem. Thank you for the streaming, he says. Well, thank you for hiring me, sort of, to paint your miniatures. So yeah, just go ahead and for your game of Clank. Clank is a great game. And I am finishing these pretty soon, so these are just final steps. So nothing to brag about. Okay, so I'm just going with the side of my brush, and I'm just gonna go and do highlight like this, and be very careful to not go over the miniature. And we need to load up a little bit more because we need to do the vertical lines. And we are just going to do one more quick pass just to reinforce that color a little bit more, because after all there is a black underneath it, so you need like 2 maybe 3 coats, but since we are doing some other highlights, 2 will be enough. So now we have this like yellow rim going on around it, which will fit nicely into theme of the board game itself. And now we are just going to take some icy yellow, and oh man, I just can't. And we are just going to go over the edges themselves and light those up a little bit like so, and on the other side of it. And I messed it up a little bit, but fortunately, not unfortunately, I can clean it up pretty easy. And yeah, you do this for all 5 edges. You do this with the green for Sprog, and you can call this miniature done. Okay, so that is done for the Destructor. I forgot the name. Best person. Oh, I just saw the Jesse's comment. Best person I ever hired. Thank you very much. So yeah, and my mom is sending me off to sleep. We're going to sleep in a second, Mom. So this one is done. And we just need to do the same for the Sprog, and we are going to use a deep green and light green. So just gonna mix them both up at the same time. Just need a little bit of, oh man, it's stuck. I need to unstuck it. No, it does not want to go. So I had some clipper things here, but I can't find them right now, which is most unfortunate because I really need them. Let me just quickly check here. I have, oh, it's here. There we go. So some of that green, some of the light green for the extra details. Okay, first we go with the dark green as we did with the yellow one. We just go and dilute it as much as we can. And we just go and paint the rim green This one is going pretty smoothly, I must say. It looks really thin. Oh man, I just messed it up a little bit. I think the problem, if it's not smooth, is because of some of the bases don't have like super sharp edges, and then it's really hard to get like a one really sharp, nice line. Okay, so the green is done. It's really minimalistic. You don't even see it on a camera. And now for the light green, for those nice juicy glowy details. I'll have to come back and repair that. The brush went too much on one side. Again, because I'm really in a hurry to finish it. I really want to go to bed, but I don't want to do a messy job, and I still managed to mess up. Okay, so that is done, and we can call these two miniatures done. So yeah, here they are. We have Sprog, we have Destructor, and I'm really happy how they turned out. I really like the highlights that I did, that I decided to do, the free hand and everything. So yeah, that is that. I don't know, it's the end of the stream. We streamed for 2 hours 5 minutes. I predicted it will be somewhere around that time. So yeah, thank you all for watching, thank you all for joining up, thank you my family for supporting me, and we need to go to work in the morning, at least I do, and we are done for today, so, or tonight, however you want to call it. So yeah, that is that. Thank you all for watching, thank you for subscribing. Join me on Friday when I will be painting 2 more miniatures from Adrenaline, and then the last 2 miniatures I will be doing on Sunday. Sunday, yes, on Sunday. And that is that. Good night, Zeblik, to you too. I mean, it's day where you are right now, but yeah, that's that. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.